good evening. It is such a great joy being here with you this evening. I know that many of you have made a great effort to come here all the way. So I'm grateful for that. It's also such an honor to give satsang in this place that has been built with such love and dedication by both of you and others, of course, but by motivated, driven by your heart-driven intention. So this is a house of love, and I'm so delighted to be a part of it. It already is so beautiful, so quickly evolving. And I know that there are also some of you watching the satsang online. So I greet you with joy. So happy that you can be with us. Fortunately, satsang is a non-local event. Even when we're here together physically, what is really actively sharing the event of satsang is far deeper layers of our being. So I hope that we can travel far and deep within our being this evening, and probably also the other evenings, hopefully, because tomorrow and the day after tomorrow we'll have more opportunities to be together. So this particular event is traditionally called satsang. Now, what does that mean? Not literally, but actually, this means that we are a group of people, a group of hearts and minds, choosing to pay attention, to devote their attention to existence itself, to reality itself. This means not to particular aspects of life, not to what we know as daily life, not to any kind of relative reality, relative in the sense of changing, something that is passing, but attention to reality itself, to existence, to that which was, is, and will be. And in this sense, our life is but a passing expression of it. It takes place in it. It arises from it, but it will also disappear into it. And in satsang, we are choosing to devote our heart and mind to this reality. And often what happens when we choose to do so is that we are beginning to be filled with a certain profound joy, which is actually what can be called bliss. It is a different type of joy. It is not like the joy of eating ice cream or having sex or experiencing success in something. It is a joy that feels like the full satisfaction of our soul. It's like our soul's hunger is being satisfied, and that is the reason that we experience bliss. It's a profound type of joy, and this joy is the indication that we are doing the right thing. You see. It is like the light in the form of a feeling that shows us the way, that whisper to us, yes, you are right now doing the right thing. You are, because you are finally paying attention to this kind of lost and mostly undiscovered sense of existence itself. And it's not just paying attention to it, it's also actually becoming absorbed in it. What does it mean to become absorbed in something? It means that we let our being become a part of something greater than ourselves. That we no longer feel like as if we are some kind of something that sticks out of the universe, not like separate observers, not like a foreign entity, but that we are able to settle into the universe, into existence as our true home. So we're relaxing. Now, since this is going to be not only an independently occurring satsang, but something that is going to be hopefully a part of a greater texture, a greater happening these days, we will explore together a certain topic that is especially suitable for this kind of, well, sort of communal event that is not only individuals listening to satsang, but also people gathering, becoming a part of something. And I think that what we're going to explore together is something that especially relevant these days, this age. But before we are even going to talk about anything, let's meditate. We will have some kind of guided meditation that will, of course, be somehow relevant to our talk later. So we'll have this guided meditation, and after this guided meditation, we are going to talk for some time, a talk which is not different from meditation, actually. And after that, we will have time for questions. So please, if you have any questions, some questions will surely arise while I'm speaking. Just note them to yourself and keep them for that part. Good. So let us start by meditating. And we are going to meditate on our, what we can call our life force. And we will, I hope, understand this experientially now. So we can now close our eyes and we will take perhaps one deep breath just before we are delving into the world of meditation. Then slowly and deeply breathe. Allowing our body to relax with every breath we take. So our starting point is, of course, our body as it feels right now. Physical, dense, made of flesh and bone and blood, organs. And first we acknowledge this kind of density. Feel the body as a material thing. But then let us visualize as if a certain light is beginning to dissolve the density of our body, the substance. One body part after another, until the inside of our body becomes space-like. It's as if our body is now filled with just air or light, like a balloon. If we looked into it, we would only find air. So there's only this airiness, this empty body inside, and the only thing that has remained is that the skin is there, but even the skin is like a transparent, glowing outline. Everything is rainbow-like, crystal-like. And still, you may notice that in this space-like, denseless body, there is a certain energy, a certain vibration. So actually, when you are dissolving the physical, the subtler dynamics of your body is revealed. It is this kind of life force. Life force is this energy, this vibration that is the life of the body. So now feel this empty body with this glowing outline, and this vibration of the life force. Perhaps it is rushing in certain areas more than others. Perhaps it is moving in streams, perhaps it is gushing or flowing in thin streams. But now, pay attention to the area outside your empty body, your space-like body. And become aware of the life force that surrounds you. Just as your body is filled with this life force, also this room and other bodies animals, plants, have also this type of vibrational dance. So now ask yourself, simply examine intuitively is the life force inside your body and the life force that is all around you. Are they really different from one another? Or is the vibration within the body and the one outside the body are really inseparable? Essentially one. Try as much as possible to feel this unified life force. Perhaps even this glowing outline of your body is melting until there is no division, no inner and outer, just one flow of life. Very good. So you can now calmly and gently open your eyes or remain in closed eyes. With your eyes closed, this doesn't really matter in this type of event. It's anyway meditation. Now, of course, when we are opening our eyes, there is a distinction, right? Suddenly we return to the familiar, perhaps even safe boundaries of our body, seeing other bodies apart from us, but this is only the grossest level of reality. The deeper we move into the heart of existence, the less boundaries we can sense. And the first thing to melt away is this life force. Of course, when you are in touch with this life force, then you feel also that you are imbued with infinite life force, right? Because you no longer rely only on your physical life force. Now you are nourished, you are supported, you are fed. So that is an important insight, because we too often rely only on our own resources, right? We're trying to be overly independent. We say, that's my body and this is my energy. Well, good, but also that also means that this is only your body and that's only your energy. So you are closing yourself to the possibility of being nourished, being sustained by the infinite life force. Of course, we're always somewhat nourished by it, whether we are conscious of it or not. But as we become more conscious of it, we are more nourished by it. This is a very quiet place. That's nice. So, so now we are going to begin to explore together our satsang topic, and I hope that it is clear. Although when words begin to enter, it sometimes seems intellectual, but there is absolutely nothing intellectual about satsang. I give many lectures and seminars and professional training, and they are intellectual very often because there is information to digest. But here, this is not about an intellectual understanding. It's about feeling in the deepest sense, perhaps feeling also at the energetic level, not just feeling in the emotional sense, energetically, feeling at the level of the heart, feeling at the level of the soul. This is where we communicate really. And now I'm going to start. Just lately, I guided a certain retreat. It was an Easter retreat, and it dealt with the teachings of Jesus. Of course, the mystical aspect of Jesus' teachings. So we read together parts of the Gospels and meditated on them, and there is a certain aspect of this retreat that seems to me like something that we can focus on today. And this aspect, don't worry, it's not a Christian satsang. And this aspect is something that is actually mentioned several times in the Gospels, in several of the books. So it's all about a moment. It's actually a very funny moment, I think, in which there is a certain argument taking place between Jesus' disciples.
So they are like they are having this argument. They are walking together to if I'm not mistaken, to a village called the Capernaum, and they are walking together, and the disciples are arguing, and later Jesus asks them, "What were you arguing about while you were on the way?" And they feel very embarrassed because he caught them. Making them realize how childish their dispute was, and what they were arguing about was who among them, among the disciples, was the best, the greatest. You see, so that was the argument. Who is the greatest disciple? And that and then when Jesus hears that, there are two versions, or more than two versions to what he answered them. Then he gives them he tells them about kings of foreign countries, and he tells them what they do is that they rule, right? They rule and exercise authority, right, over their people. And then because he identifies their will to become leaders, to become number one of their group. So he says, you are not going to be like that. And then he says, this is for me one of the most beautiful moments in the Gospels. He said that the greatest among you should be like the youngest. And the one who rules among you should be the one who serves. You see? It's such a radical twist, right? Because you, when you want to be the greatest, you don't mean that you want to be a servant or that you want to be considered the youngest, like a child. You want to be admired, to be noticed, and to lead. So but this is not the end of what Jesus says at that moment. He is also saying that he compares this kind of state in which they should be, those who want to be the greatest. If you want to be the greatest, he says, you need to be like a child. You need to be the smallest. You need to be a child. This is the thing. So he says, anyone who wants to be first must be the very last. So if you want to be on top, you need to lower yourself to the lowest degree. And then Jesus, probably they were just around children. He takes a little child, and then he places this child among his disciples. And in a way, he humiliates them because they were busy aspiring to become leaders, number one. And he points at the child, and he says, whoever welcomes one of these little children in my name welcomes me. And he explains to them that this is the type of person, this is the type of consciousness that can enter the kingdom of heaven. For me, this moment in which Jesus says that, this is the core of his teaching. You see? This is what his message. It's all about how to become the littlest, the smallest child. So there is a certain contrast here between two states of consciousness, two ways of being. One is self-importance, right? Right? I am number one. I'm important. I'm superior. I am a leader. And the child consciousness. Child consciousness. This Jesus contrasts this with this, and he also contrasts being the first with being the last. And somehow for Jesus, being the last is the best, which is really confusing in terms of of our human mind, human thought. And then he contrasts leadership with service, right? Now, the mind cannot understand what Jesus says, right? This is ridiculous. It doesn't work like this in the human world. But the heart has a very different type of logic. And this is what I want us to, this insight, I want us to cherish and to explore this evening, because it is this need to be important. We need to understand this need to be important, to be a someone, is actually one of the greatest components of the ego. It's like one of the primary elements of the ego. So now in a let's say aggressive form, it is expressed as the wish to be very important, but there are also subtle ways in which this wish to be important manifests. For instance, the wish to be seen, the wish to be seen, to be recognized, the wish to be appreciated, to be acknowledged. And in the subtlest sense, this is the wish to feel that I exist, to know that I exist through someone else's gaze, you see? Do you understand that someone looks at me, someone acknowledges my existence, and through this I know that I exist. And it's also sometimes through comparing myself to someone else. So each one of us experiences this kind of wish to be important, wish to be seen, to be acknowledged in different ways, in a different way. You see, some of us experience this once emphasize the emotional importance, right? I am emotionally important to someone else. I'm emotionally acknowledged. Some want to be acknowledged in terms of status, right? We know that. And some want to be acknowledged spiritually. We want to have spiritual importance. And the thing is that it doesn't matter why we want to feel important. It is essentially the very same ego. So we perhaps wish to be a part, or to be at the center of things, or we want to know that we are special. We want to know that we are especially important.
Now, perhaps some of us will think, well, this doesn't apply to me. Now, the thing is that naturally we all want to be important to a certain degree and in a certain way. And how do we know that we want to be important, or that importance means a lot to us as human beings? This is because we are very busy comparing, right? We are busy making comparisons. In every environment, there are different type of comparisons, right? There is a different type of comparison among the business people, among the spiritual people, who is more enlightened, who is a better meditator, and all these type of comparison going on. We keep making these comparisons. Now, when we read the Gospels, we realize that 2,000 years ago, people were as busy, as occupied with these matters as we are today. I mean, it's very funny, right? Because you are following Jesus, and then you are busy arguing who is the greatest. So the thing is that this has always been a compulsive human need, and actually it is quite understandable that we have this need. We will talk about it. But in our age, wanting to be important, it has reached a certain climax. It has become a major value. Being seen, becoming somebody, having this kind of self-pride or sense of we sometimes call it self-confidence, like the wish to be very proud of what we do, and the wish to be very independent or highly individualistic. Sometimes we are told that we are a masterpiece, that we are special, that we are loved, that we are seen. And this is all great. The only thing is that this is nothing but another polar reaction, the other extreme, the other end of this fact that we are educated to become a part of a highly and violently competitive world. You see? In which everyone is making a great effort to stand out, to be seen, to be special. So then we cultivate, of course, the other extreme. Our thinking always moves like a pendulum, from here to there, from there to here. But the thing itself is to recognize this wish to be important, to be special, as a part of the human condition. This is Homo sapiens. This is what it has done since the very beginning. Now, we shouldn't, I'm not saying all that to condemn. It's not, because now if condemning is the most ridiculous thing to do, because then you're only dividing yourself against yourself. We need to understand that the wish to be important, special, is actually should actually be treated with compassion, not with condemnation, because we need to understand what lies at the core of this wish. It is our fear of being non-existence. It's our fear of non-existence. And it's even at the survival level, because if you are not noticed in the world, then how, in a way, this threatens your very survival. You need to be recognized, to be acknowledged, then you feel belonging, then you feel safety and all that, right? So it makes sense. But the thing is that this need, at a certain point, if you want to develop spiritually, and also to mature emotionally, but to develop spiritually, you have to somehow transform this need. If we want to have a full realization, a full understanding, a fully liberating understanding. So for that, we have to learn to pass through this fear of non-existence, and then to move through this non-existence like as if we move through a dark tunnel, because there is something completely different at the other side of the tunnel. So now, what does Jesus tell us? And again, this is not a Christian satsang, it's just Jesus, I'm referring to him as a mystic, a great mystic. And as a great mystic, he tells us, he gives us a certain guidance. He tells us, you should actually not strive to be big, but you should strive to be small, as tiny as possible, and as tiny as possible to a degree that you're actually nearly non-existent, nearly nothing. This is basically his guidance, because he tells us everywhere in the Gospels, somehow in the kingdom of heaven, all the values turn upside down. You see? It's like in the world, you should be important, you should be a leader, you should be individual, you should be strong, you should be special, you should be number one. And somehow, if you want the sense of the kingdom, this kind of consciousness, in that consciousness, it is the smallest that is the greatest. And it is the nothing that is everything. If you are able, this is such a paradox, right? Because it's like if you are able to touch this nothing inside you, you actually are able to get in touch with the everything, with the greatness. Do you know, we have all probably heard this thing of the mustard seed, right? That the kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed. So it is the tiniest. So you have to get in touch with this tiny. Beat that as your key. Now, perhaps we are then worried because is, first of all, our first concern can be, isn't that self-cancellation? Now the thing is that there is a very big difference between self-cancellation, saying I'm worth nothing, I'm nothing, beating myself, pushing myself down because I'm just a humble nothing, and so on and so on, because this type of self-cancellation or humbling ourselves continuously, this is nothing but another value that actually preserves our personal self, and the only thing is that we are now lowering it instead of heightening it. So humbleness or humility is actually nothing more than the mental opposite of pride. You see, first you're proud, now you're humble. This is just a game. It's not deep. This will definitely not take you to the kingdom. You will not have any kind of enlightenment. What Jesus means is actually much more profound. Because there is a far deeper understanding here, and it is concerned with what is this self in me that seeks self-importance, that wants to be important, that wants to be special. Because when I have this kind of wish, I want to have this kind of the sense that my existence is worth something, right? Do you understand? That my existence has any meaning, has any value. This is a justified need. But this sense of existential value can spring from two sources. One is a false type of existence, and this false type of existence comes from my self-image. This is where I derive my sense of worth, you see? I'm confident, I'm individual, I'm strong, I'm that, this and that. And then there is also, but then there is this kind of real existence, real sense of worth that springs not from self-image, but from the value of existence itself, of being a part of existence. So in liberation, liberation is all about replacing false existence with real existence. And it's also when it is completely enough for you to be just a leaf, a trembling leaf of the cosmic tree. You see? When I want to be special, I want to be number one, I want to be noticed, I certainly don't want to be a trembling leaf. But this is what existence is, you see, because there is this grand eternal tree of the universe, and then we are just leaves, then that's it, that is all. And the value of existence, our sense of meaning, our sense of importance does not lie in the leaf. It lies in the tree. So when I agree to be a part of this tree, I actually agree to be without absolutely self-importance. I am agree to be the smallest, just a leaf, which means that I don't have my own self-existence. In this way, I finally get to get in touch with the feeling of the tree, you see, with the feeling of being a part of the tree. So do you understand how it works? I'm agreeing to actually be the smallest, then I finally get to be a part of something real. And I don't need to fake confidence and and my own specialness, my own importance. And this is exactly this kind of beautiful child consciousness that Jesus speaks about. Because what does it mean to be a child? It's not just being playful or carefree. It is also being innocent, to have an innocent heart. And what is an innocent heart? Is a heart that is free from comparison, is a heart that separates from the grown-ups point of view. You see, there is this world of grown-ups. This is what Jesus tells us: don't be a part of the grown-ups world, the adults world. They have corrupted the world. They have robbed us of the innocence of our heart, because the grown-ups have told us that it's so important to compete. It's so important to win. It's so important to be number one and compare and be special and important and leading. So this can perhaps give you the kingdom here, but not the kingdom that the heart seeks, you see, which is this wonderful feeling of being a part of. And when we're finally agreeing to be part of, we're finally agreeing to be a leaf, nothing but a leaf that is just about to fall. It's nearly autumn for this leaf. And it's autumn for all of us very soon, you know. We are here for just a brief moment. And when you agree to be this leaf, finally your mind relaxes, you see. Finally, you don't have this kind of racing mind that is so busy producing its own existence. The mind is silent when it agrees to be not important. So we need to differentiate here between two things. There is being unique
right? Being unique, and all of us are unique, whether we try hard or not. Even if you didn't do anything in life, you are unique. And being special, you see? These are very important states of being, because the beautiful thing is that actually it is when you renounce the wish to be special, your uniqueness is finally revealed effortlessly. You are what you are, you see? You are a leaf in a way that is designed so remarkably beautiful. But you don't need to do anything for this. You don't need to be special. You don't need to be number one. You don't need to be nothing. Actually, the lowest you go, the deeper your renunciation goes, the more the uniqueness flowers. It's just without self-awareness, you will never know that you're unique. You will not need to think about it. You don't care anymore. It's just there. So you don't have a self-image. You don't say my uniqueness. Because it's natural. You don't need to think about yourself. It's who you are. You know that too often there is this talk about people who become spiritual teachers, you see? Spiritual teachers, and they sit on platforms and things like that, and with a microphone, and people are sitting and listening. Then it is interpreted very wrongly as a special state, as being special, you see? Like we're all listening to somebody that is very special, and that is in a special state. And then this is actually the worst thing we could ever think in relation to something like that, because if there is any meaning to this realization, is exactly what Jesus teaches us, you see? It's this absolute cancellation of any type of self-importance, any type of self-consciousness, any type of self-image, you see? Which means that it's finally you get to be not special. Do you understand? It's like it's the liberation from being special. You're walking around, you're not special. You're actually unnoticeable, you don't exist, you see? And this is very strange, because for our ego, for our thinking, this sounds like a terrible thing, right? What do you mean to be non-existent, to be not special, to be unnoticeable? This sounds dreadful. But the thing is that it's bliss. So if you are really beginning to develop this longing for a state of being completely non-special, then you'll get it, you see? And then you'll realize why it is related somehow to this sense of the kingdom that Jesus spoke about, you see? This sense of blessedness. Now, I know that some of us are concerned. we may be concerned because we're thinking, well, I'm already having an inferiority complex. I'm already thinking terribly about myself. I'm already very happy to cancel myself and to think that I'm not important, that I'm not, and so on and so on. So agreeing now to even drop this wish to be special or important, that would only aggravate my condition, right? And this is an understandable concern, because it also, there is a certain truth about this. It is true that if we do suffer from this kind of inferiority complex, feeling that we are inferior, this needs to be healed. This needs to be taken care of. It needs to be healed compassionately. We need to learn how to gently transform this kind of inferiority complex, or this kind of feeling that we are anyway not important. But we shouldn't lose sight of one thing. We should make sure that we're not moving now from inferiority to superiority. We should make sure that we're not moving from having being too humble to being too proud, you see? Because this is just, again, another self-image, you see? So now I have the self-image of someone who is not important. Now I have the self-image that is inflated and completely disproportionate. I'm special, I'm important, I'm meaningful, and so on and so on. The intelligent thing is to heal that part without moving to the other extreme, you see? Because again, our thinking is a pendulum. It just moves from one superiority, inferiority, inferiority, superiority. I'm nothing, I'm everything. I'm important, I'm not important. It's not about that. We need actually ultimately to be released from both extremes and to start being. You know that there is also this kind of discussion that separates spirituality from psychology. In psychology, they always speak about self-love, you see? I need to learn to love myself. Now, in spirituality, there is no need to actually do that. There is no need to speak about self-love, because all that is relevant, all that is really important is to free yourself from self-hatred. Do you understand? It's not that you now need to move to develop another self-image, another ego. Now the loving ego. I love myself so much, and so on. But it's about being able to drop the negative. You don't need to build the positive, because the positive is already here. You see? Love is here. Love is the fabric of the universe. It's what our body cells are made of. So we don't need to produce it. We don't need to create an image of it. We don't need to construct some compensatory, positive thinking, balancing thinking. In spirituality, transformative spirituality, you don't need to add.
anything, only to renounce, only to remove layers. That's undoing, the art of undoing, not doing. Do you understand this point? It's like we are inherently important. We don't need to add that to our as an effort. So yes, it is depressing to be unimportant when you really want to become important. But when you choose based on a profound understanding to be unimportant, to let go of this need to be important, that is bliss. Do you understand? It's a choice, it's an understanding, it's a conscious understanding. And that is the bliss of being completely unimportant, completely unexceptional. And this doesn't mean that you're not going to do great things in life. You can build things, you can contribute in so many ways, but remember that also volcanoes and oceans, they also do great stuff, right? But they never claim that they deserve a credit, right? They never claim to be acknowledged. You can be a part of nature, doing great stuff. So the last thing to understand is that as soon as you are willing to let go of this wish to be important, to be special, certain things begin to happen. If you do this profoundly, willingly. So first of all, you are beginning to approach, to come close to a sense of non-self-existence. Non-self-existence. This means that you're no longer existing separately, you see? You're not a leaf trying to depart from the tree and walking out there. You are beginning to feel a part of existence and to lose this type of self-existence. And this leads you to a state of pure awareness, pure being, the sense of being a part of real existence. Do you understand how easy it is? We're not trying to stand out, to stick out of the universe, and then we're finally becoming a part of it. And the second thing that takes place is that this is actually the key to the fragrance of love. Because when you are now a part of existence and you're not comparing, you're not trying to differentiate yourself in any way, you are beginning to know this love, because love is the wholeness of existence, you see? Is when we are beginning to be able to get in touch with this existence in an undivided state.
when everything is just parts of it, parts of a whole, but it's completely indivisible. And another thing that happens to you is that you begin to be servants, really happy servants. You don't think yourself of as leaders or as anything, because you are not. You see, you are, just as Jesus said, you are the lowest, so you put yourself as the servant, and being the servant is actually the greatest thing you can be. You see, when we're sitting here together, technically it seems as if the direction of the arrow is from here to here, right? That this is how it is positioned, but really the direction of the arrow is different, is from here to here. Do you understand? So the question of that concerns the one who sits here is how to serve, and not how to lead or how to draw attention. Because if we really understand the point, then this is non-existent, you see, and unimportant, and the only thing that matters is the other with which our inner space is filled, you see? So I'm grateful for Jesus' disciples that had this quarrel, and in this way eliciting this kind of teaching that is now heard again and meditated on 2,000 years ago, 2,000 years later. That is the nature of the really good teaching. So let's see if you have questions or thoughts. I guess that yes, that we will also have written questions, right, coming from our dear online participants. So I will just alternate, okay, from the physical to the digital, and the other way around. So yes, please, let's see what questions you may have. Yes, please.
Can you surfing, it is a little bit, when it is out of the real context, a little bit not so funny, not sexy, not. But if we understand really that when we agree to become a child or nothing tied to ourselves, we are so filled with everything, with love, that serving is not a moral action. It's just coming out of overflow. And for me, it's a big difference, because before I thought, oh, maybe it's to become a servant, so it's not so. But if we experience to agree to let go of ourself, we have the overflow coming to us. And that makes me think a little bit also at the parable of the father and the lost son, because when we let go, we are not alone of letting go. The Godfather gives and makes it possible that we become someone who is able to serve and to give and to. It's not us alone. It's and do you agree what I'm saying?
Well, what is service? You see, because we need to ask ourselves, of course, if it's a moral idea, if it's a certain ideal, then it is something that you do as a part of your self-image, and that's inevitable, right? I am a good person. I give people. I am a loving person. I'm very kind, and I and perhaps I even accumulate. You know, in Buddhism, there is the concept. Not only in Buddhism, there's the concept of accumulating merit. You know, this is a concept of accumulating merit in the sense that you are accumulating karmic, positive karmic actions that now are gained in a sort of, you have a credit in the Buddha bank, you see. You are, so you are, it's like positive points that now, that later will flourish. So that is good for the relative type of religion, you see. And the relative type of morality, it's not so bad. I'm happy that it's better than the other thing, you see. So morality should actually be honored, but it has nothing to do with transformative spirituality and with mysticism. Mysticism is a very different idea. It's all about realizing the falsity of our self-image and the falsity of all that occupies our mind and heart as separate beings. It is the realization that we are not available to existence and to others, because we are so occupied with fear and desire that are the result of our false personal existence, you see, because we're clinging to illusion. Now, remove this kind of density of occupation. Why are we thinking all day long, you see? Why are we so busy? What project are we occupied with? What are we trying to become that we are not already, you see? And then when you are beginning to work with seriously on this, you are gradually realizing that you have become incredibly available, and available to a degree that you actually, as far as you're concerned, you have no idea what you're doing here. I'm not talking about, it's simple. You're just looking at your life and you're saying, well, my life is over. And not in a tragic sense, not my life is over. It's my life is over. My story is not interesting anymore. There is no drama. I don't care. And then you are beginning to be filled with love and joy. And whenever you meet someone else, you are so available because you have nothing for yourself. You are not interested in yourself anymore. So you are naturally interested in the other, you see? In their suffering, in their confusion, in their happiness, in their understanding. So this is so natural because when you are space-like, space has the nature of accommodating something else, you see? Of containing everything, of including. And there is this love that is the nature, the fragrance, the nature of this space, the nature of this availability. It is the spontaneous quality. You don't do it. It has nothing to do with self-image. And that is where you begin to serve. And this doesn't happen only when you are fully, finally available. Even if you are 10% available, 10% less of yourself, your false self, you already contain so much knowledge, understanding, insight, joy, that there is an abundance to share. You see? Now, as a result, there is a certain sense of responsibility. The responsibility is not this kind of burden, but it's the kind of natural caring that you feel that, well, if I don't suffer, why would others suffer? You see? Why can't we share it? And then you feel that your heart becomes committed to it. Yes, your heart becomes, it is beautiful. That's the beauty of the thing, you see. So your heart becomes committed to this kind of sharing, to this kind of alleviating people's suffering, the subtle and the gross. Sometimes it really doesn't matter. Suffering is suffering, actually. So so this sense of responsibility, this sense of service, they have nothing to do with effort, nothing to do with morality, nothing to do with must do. It's just a heart's response. That's it.
Just to close, I thank you so much because each time I understand more, and it's so beautiful.
Which means that each time you're becoming more available and less of yourself, right? And then when we become less of ourselves, we naturally, effortlessly become a source of support to others. Not because we think of ourselves as support, but because there is something spontaneous that flows from an available being. That's it. That's what we do here, right? We share. Then now this talk helps us all to hopefully to remove another layer, another subtle layer. It doesn't need to come as lightning, you see, like shocking strikes of transformation. Every time something is removed, and we are happier, we feel more natural, more spontaneous, and then people recognize it. It is so effortless. This is how we create this chain, right?
So now online.
Question from Ines.
Hello, Ines. Yes.
Can a leaf of a tree manifest? Who manifests?
Again, please. Can a leaf of a tree
manifest? And who manifests?
Okay, I guess that the question is, does a leaf have any kind of manifesting powers, right? Ability to do things by itself, to achieve things, and what and if so and what is it the element that manifests? Well, a leaf of a cosmic tree is not like a leaf on a tree, in that we are talking about a cosmic tree that has tremendous infinite capacities of intelligence, love, creativity, and awareness. You see, all these 4 factors. Now, it is the trees exploding with infinite with these 4 infinite qualities. Now, this means that each leaf has at least a spark of these qualities. Not infinite, finite, but it has the quality of the infinite. Do you understand? It has the nature of the infinite. So when we get in touch, the leaf gets in touch with it, it feels infinite. But it cannot flow infinitely because it flows through a very limited body, very limited mind. But even this spark is enough for an extraordinary degree of manifestation in the world. Now, of course, when a leaf on the cosmic tree becomes aware of the fact that it is a part of the cosmic tree, you remember in our meditation what we did, right? We experienced how our life force, our limited life force, our shriveled life force, our contracted life force, suddenly when we realize that it's a part of a general vibration, we feel, when we walk in the world, we feel like the whole life force of the universe is walking. You see, you feel you walk inseparably from it. You walk as the universe. So when you become conscious of your nature as a leaf, you're actually filled with more of it, with more of this spark. This spark becomes awakened, and your manifesting powers increase. But you never have the feeling that you are manifesting anything. That's the point, because as the leaf, you will only say, well, that's not what, didn't Jesus say that all the time? That's not what I do, right? That's my father's doing, that's my, right? We know that it has this terminology, a Jewish Kabbalistic terminology, but it means exactly that. It means that the leaf says, I am the son, but it's the Father that is doing. I'm only aligning myself with the Father, you see? So in our terms, it's I am the leaf, and I am just, if there is anything that is coming out of me, it is thanks to the intelligence, awareness, creativity, and love of the tree. This is where I derive my powers from. And this is exactly what makes you so naturally humble, you see, because you never appropriate anything. You can never say, this is, well, that's my genius, or something like that, or my talents. Because even your talents are not yours. Have you made your talents? When you came into the world, suddenly realized, I don't know, that you can play the piano really beautifully.
Did you do it? No. You suddenly realize that you had this talent, right? So talents are not ours. There is actually no possessor of the talent. The talent and is off the tree. Is the tree's grace. So that makes you blissfully unself-conscious. There can be a great deal of manifestation and you will never feel that you have ever done anything, which is, by the way, really helpful, because it also implies that you're not the doer in the sense of effort. Do you understand? Even if you move mountains for the sake of some goals and destinations, there is no sense of I did it, and therefore also no sense of that's my effort. Yes. Yes.
You talked a lot about becoming a child.
Yes.
And the falseness of the self-esteem or practicing that and self-worth and self-existence.
Yes. Yes.
I'm very interested in education, and I wonder if there's something like a healthy teaching of that, because in a way, what you also see a lot on social media is parents practicing with their children in front of the mirror. I'm beautiful, I'm good.
Yes.
And all of this. And
Yes.
in a way, a child needs self-reassurance, but I'm also interested in how much we are planting the false seed already so early, and how you would, do with young people, children.
Oh, well, what a wonderful question. Well, that's a delicate question, you see, because I think when it comes to children, we need to move between two aspects. One is the fact that at first we need a sort of a compensatory, the intervention or the involvement of a compensatory type of thinking and feeling. You see, sometimes we need to replace one thought with another. This is what we do. It's like it's a form of, yes, it's like a bandage. It's like a plaster. It's like something that you help to relieve a certain pain. This is what we do as adults, right? Also, for instance, we experience a certain loss, and then we think, well, that's for the better, right? This has to have some purpose. So we relieve our pain by thinking something positive. That's compensation. It's compensatory thinking. In transformative spirituality, we don't use, you see, you don't use this kind of compensatory thinking. That is really relevant in religion and in psychology. It doesn't take you far, but it relieves the pain. It gives you a feeling that you can stabilize your condition. Or for instance, that if you are a child, so vulnerable, and still not having this kind of sufficient experience and sufficient mental capacities, cognitive capacities, so at least you have this. So your father, your mother, if they're kind, they tell you, you are beautiful, we love you as you are, you have a meaning, and we believe in you, and stand for yourself, and don't care about what the other children say, because know your all that. Well, I've also told my daughter these things. I still do, you see. because we need to do that as long as we are as long as we are not able to take a step further. This step further is beyond psychology. Now, but I would gently integrate this into my transmission, you see, into my education, because then I would also add meditation and letting go of any kind of self-image. Not just telling the child, look at yourself in the mirror, how beautiful you are, but also feel how you are part of a beautiful universe. And by being a part of a beautiful universe, you are beautiful, you see? So this links the child to a more existential sense of worth. And I can tell them, don't look at the mirror, but feel yourself. Feel that there are certain emotions in you that are natural. Can you feel? Perhaps we can get in touch with love and with joy, and this nothing can give it to you, and nothing can take it away from you. It's in you. So there you can gently point out those things that are inherent. You see, that are not self-image. Of course, when we're sitting here, then we can challenge our boundaries, you see, because satsang is not about psychology. For this, we have plenty of platforms and ways of communication, but satsang is this unique opportunity to look beyond psychology, beyond our psyche, beyond our thinking. Begin to experience what meditation has to offer. Meditation is the ocean of existence. It's finally renouncing this part of this part that keeps struggling in us, and finally realizing why it is struggling, you see. We're not trying to improve it, to make it feel better, to ease its pain. We are beginning to realize that at the root of its existence there is a certain mistake, an error of understanding, an error in perspective. Thank you. Yes, please.
A question from Livia.
Yes, Divya. Hello.
Thank you for clearing this aspect even further. I am writing with a heavy heart and intense longing, since my mind doesn't think this smallness is possible for me. Since the beginning of the year, I feel like I am full of myself in a very bad way. Maybe you can help to bring some light or further understanding. How can I get over this, that I feel as if it is impossible, as if my ego is just too huge?
Can you please read it again?
Yes. Thank you for clearing this aspect even further. I am writing with a heavy heart and intense longing, since my mind doesn't think this smallness is possible for me. Since the beginning of the year, I feel like I am full of myself in a very bad way. Maybe you can help to bring some light or further understanding. How can I get over this, that I feel as if it is impossible, as if my ego is just too huge?
Well, first of all, thank you for your sincerity. If I can say that, even if I can just say that, that's already groundbreaking. You know, how many of us can sincerely say, well, I'm so full of myself. I just see it. My ego is just inflated. Then I'm no longer covering up this kind of forces inside me. I can observe myself, my reality, and it's very important to do this without any condemnation, without anger, but also without self-justification. Just looking at it, that's the reality right now. You see, you're aware of it just as you are aware of the weather outside. You're noticing, okay, so I am full of myself. I've been really self-occupied, perhaps criticizing, judging, looking down on others, and so on and so on. And here I am hearing this kind of profound truth spoken by Jesus and illuminated this evening, and I'm seeing myself. That's the reality. That's it. First of all, see it, because and then also perhaps because you're writing with a heavy heart, don't be afraid of letting the heart break in response to what you see. This is not condemnation. It's just looking at it and feel, oh, I've been so separated from reality, you see. I've been so distant from my true self. I've been so distant from existence, from this cosmic tree. Now, if this is painful, don't fear this pain. It's okay. If there are tears, let the tears fall. You see, because these tears, this broken heart are not a problem. They're actually what melts away, what dissolves this kind of separation, this kind of distance from existence. They are good tears. Ultimately, all tears are good tears because they help us to develop, to learn. But they are really good tears. The tears that are the result of a sincere understanding that breaks our heart. You see, for instance, if I'm in a relationship and I'm looking at a certain point, I've been so unloving. You see. Right? My heart has been so closed for years, and I'm looking, I've taken my partner for granted, and that breaks my heart. Don't fear it. Don't try to justify, to say, well, yes, what can I do? The chores or the daily duties, and let it break your heart without hating yourself. Just break your heart, because when the heart breaks, it opens, you see. It becomes wider. It begins to include something else, something beyond its boundaries. It stops being this kind of fist that doesn't let anything and anyone enter. So let it break the heart. And then in this kind of broken-heartedness, with this, but in a gentle state, fully seeing it, then begin to gently look for those reasons that have made you full of yourself. What have you been trying to protect? What have you been trying to avoid? What have you gained as a result of this, I don't know, arrogance or self-importance of being full of yourself? What have you thought mistakenly that you could derive from this behavior or position? So begin to look with sincerity, begin to look for the motivations. Don't try to fight your condition, your what you're seeing, but what are we trying to do when we're feeling important, when we are, I don't know, critical, when we're just when we're condemning, when we are looking down on others, when we think we are better, when we are right always, always right. Like everyone else, of course. Everyone is right. So everyone is sure that they're right and no one is wrong. So of course, either we're all right or we're all wrong, right? So statistically, this puts us in a big problem. So look deep into these motives, because this would make you, will enable you to free yourself from this type of unconscious choice of life. That's simply an unconscious choice of life. But now you're conscious. So thank you for putting this so straightforwardly. So, last question. Yes, please.
I want to tap into the unconscious part of life.
I'm sorry?
What you just said about
Yes.
the unconscious part of life. I feel like when I'm unconscious, I tend to step into destructive patterns. And when I'm conscious during satsang meditation, or most nights before I fall asleep, I feel this bliss and I'm happy. And I don't understand, like in the moment I wake up in the morning, why do I fall back into these unconscious patterns? And I was wondering if there's maybe quick exercise or a thought pattern that brings me back to this conscious state.
Yes. Yes, first of all, you are fortunate to already be able to experience bliss and to... That's already something. You know, and you even know that you sometimes you fall into destructive or unconscious patterns, right?
Smoking, for example.
Okay, good. Yes. Now, this is true that very often if we don't use certain exercises or certain reminders, we will unavoidably fall into these patterns, you see? Because of course we could say, well, be as conscious as possible, that this doesn't help us, right? Where at the end of the day, you all of a sudden realize that you were in a dream state. In a way, you were not there, and that is, and we realize that we were not there when we are suddenly here. You see, for instance, in satsang, suddenly we are fully aware, and we think, where have I been for the last few days? Was I here at all? Right? So one thing is, for instance, to write certain reminders, to create certain reminders. This is as simple as possible. This means
reminders of the moment.
Yes, like you create sticky notes or messages on your phone, or on your computer, or anywhere, anywhere that you know that you are going to be particularly forgetful, you see? And you write to yourself things that you feel that will awaken you at that moment. Now, from time to time, you will get used to these notes. You will not even notice them. You will sit in front of them, perhaps, and so on. So then change them. You see? And again, sending yourself friendly reminders is also this is also a good way, via through your phone. Like, hey, where are you right now? Are you meditating or are you daydreaming? Add a smiley to be friendly to yourself. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. So it's good to try to. There is this thing of affirmations that we need in order to help us in order to carry us throughout our day until we no longer need these affirmations. And then what will happen is that from one day to another, you will feel that you are more conscious for longer times. You see, suddenly you are conscious for 1 hour, for 2 hours, and then you forget all about it. So the idea is how to make sure to remind yourself, even a friendly reminder, meditate now for 1 minute. That's it. Meditate now. And we don't realize how one minute of meditation could change the entire trajectory of our experience that day, you see? We always think, oh, I need to meditate for 20, 30 minutes every day to 1 hour. And then, of course, this is a matter of self-discipline, which we don't have. And then we don't meditate, you see? But what about meditating really briefly in ways that are just like interventions, you see? Or sentences, or reminders. And if you have a friend, a good friend, that has the same interest, ask them and help them to be reminded too. Because you see, traditionally, the best thing has been communities. That's what the Buddha did. That's what Jesus did. Everyone creates communities. Why? Because when we're together, reminding oneself not of our shortcomings, you see, you are again unconscious. No, not that. Because everyone loves doing that, right? Showing everyone else how they're unconscious. This is your ego talking right now. So, so instead, telling them, let's be friends in an expanded sense of the term, you see? Let's remind each other from time to time. So then you send a text message. Are you conscious right now? And then they also remind you. And that's the best thing we can do for one another, right? If we can help each other be with eyes wide open, with awareness, that is for me the greatest form of love. Thank you. I'm so grateful for all your questions, for your comments, and for your understanding and passionate eyes. Even if you haven't asked questions, we have hopefully listened together and understood together. So let's just take one moment of silence
just to feel this field of shared understanding. Wonderful. Thank you again for inviting me to this place and for creating this opportunity. Thank you. Thank you so much.